So paint a picture for me.
So I had, and again, I've talked to people that aren't an alcoholic, and they're like, "What are you talking about, a blackout?" They're like, "I've never drinking that much that I've blacked out and not remember what happened." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Then I really am an alcoholic if that's something that you don't even know what the word is." But that happened maybe a couple times in high school. I mean, it happened probably. It's sad to say, and I'm not proud of it. Probably every weekend, if not every other weekend in college. And again, in the first couple of years of college, it was really drinking. There wasn't any other substance use, no other drug use. I was actually it's kind of funny because I ended up using the other substances, but I was very standoffish about drugs. I would see people doing cocaine and opiates and other things, and I was like, that's never going to be me. I am just a drinker. And keep in mind, like I was the drinker that blacked out, and then inevitably got to the other drugs. But
I was the same way. I was like, ugh, pot? I'll never do that. I don't want to be a pothead. But I didn't start smoking pot till I was 26, and cocaine, like, ugh, I would never do that. I said I would never do that to everything, and I think I did a lot. Yeah. There are a couple things I never did, but yeah, I was very. I scoffed, I guess is the word, at everything.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, because I did the exact same. I was like, that's never going to be me. Like, I would come home from, I think it was after my freshman year, I would come home and be like, there were all these rumors, quote unquote, of people that coming home and like they had experimented with different drugs in college, and they'd be like, yeah, that one does a lot of cocaine. And I was like, yeah, that's never gonna be me. Like, look at that person. Inevitably, I actually got there and was that person. But yeah, I just can't believe that I scoffed at all of that. And to think that I was better then is just a fascinating thought, because I was literally drinking and blacking out and ending up in places that I didn't know. So essentially kind of the same thing in a lot of ways.
Well, now I can see that it is too. But I think back then, drinking is so widely accepted. I always say this to people. It's funny because you know how when the doctor prescribes you something and people are like, oh, I'm not going to take that. It says liver damage and kidney damage. And I'm like, okay, have you ever looked up the side effects of alcohol? It's like cancer, death, psoriasis of the liver, not even damage. It takes you to like the extreme of everything. So it's just funny to me how, alcohol is so accepted, yet it's one of the worst things we could put in our bodies.
Oh, absolutely. And I see that working in the addiction field today, is just how brutal alcohol can be on the body. I mean, we hear it today in the news and on social media that even what we thought was drinking okay, like different kinds of wines, I think it's red wine, is still not okay in a lot of ways. Yeah. Drinking beer and drinking hard liquor, there is no healthy component to that. And the way that I was drinking, I'm glad that I didn't, do a lot more damage to my liver or any other of my organs, because that was a possibility for sure.